Now, there was a report earlier this week from Bloomberg saying that Apple had actually spoken to its suppliers because it had been struggling to meet demand with the components and said, you know what, you can maybe just be a bit looser with with Face ID. It doesn't have to be as effective. Now, Apple came back and said that is total garbage. We did not say that. That is absolutely untrue. Bloomberg says it stands by its story. So who you believe really depends on your own personal opinion. But we're going to bring in a guest now. We're going to go and speak to Chad Swarthout, who is CEO of Alectrona in San Francisco. Joins us now from up that part of Northern California. And Chad, thank you very much for joining us. We've got to get through a lot here, but let's just start with the importance of the iPhone 10. You saw those cues. Tim Cook's obviously going to be very happy. Holiday season's coming up. How important is the iPhone 10 for the next 12 months for Apple?
Well, I'd say it's really definitely very important for Apple. I would say that based on the numbers that we've seen so far, it definitely looks like it's doing well. Apple certainly is using this as a device that will be bringing a lot of new technologies to the market. We've seen that Apple is bringing in things like augmented reality with ARKit, some of the healthcare things that were mentioned earlier. Absolutely, it seems like this device is going to be a really stepping stone toward some new technologies that we haven't really seen fully to fruition yet.
One way that you could probably never, ever describe an Apple product is cheap. They do have a premium. When this phone was announced, people were like, $1,000 for a phone? Are you kidding me? And that's for the base model. But looking at these lines, people have not been put off by that.
No, it doesn't seem like they have been. In fact, it seems like the pricing is quite affordable given the cost of the components, and I don't think that we're going to be seeing a lot of decrease in the price over the next 3-4 years. The new LED display on the device is certainly raises the cost of manufacturing, and just due to the supply limitations, it seems like people are happy to pay a premium. If you've taken a look at the prices that scalpers are getting on eBay and Craigslist for these phones, absolutely, it seems like if anything, they're selling them too cheap.
One of the things that is often labeled as a criticism against Apple, by Android fans, is that they don't innovate. They take technology and they kind of brand it themselves, and then they make it sound new. Let's take Face ID, for example. Facial recognition's been around on Android phones, not as effective, but still around for years. Is Apple really innovating enough to stay relevant?
I'd say they definitely are, and I think that one of the things that folks really like about Apple, and one of the things that Apple's been very successful in doing, is making sure that they don't bring products to market that aren't ready for market. If you look at the way that face recognition technology that has been implemented in other smartphones, for example, you're right. It's not working. People were even extremely critical of the demo that was done during the launch event, showing that the iPhone didn't respond immediately in the way that they expected. And I think that giving the extra time waiting for these things to be ready is definitely Apple's strategy, and I think that they definitely do have a strategy, but certainly they are secretive and they're waiting to launch things when they're ready for market. I think we saw that ARKit was going to be a big part of this new iPhone 10 launch, and I think it was underplayed at the keynote largely because we're just not there yet. I think this device is sort of a bridge between what we have today and where we're going to be going. And Apple certainly wants to make sure that some of their core functions and focus are of interest. Definitely, if you look at the way that corporate and government customers are looking to implement these devices, things like security and reliability are certainly a lot more important than just having features for the sort of tech first adopters.
Very quickly, 3 words or less. Do you think Steve Jobs would have liked the iPhone 10, considering it's got that big cutout at the top? A design compromise, you might say.
I think so.
All right, Chad, thanks very much for joining us on this day that Apple is. You're very welcome. Yeah, a big day for Apple, and one that I'm sure they will be popping a few champagne corks over tonight, Susan.